Most teachers are teaching you the hardest way possible, I guess. But IELTS is not as difficult as you have been told. If you want band 9, you need to stop wasting time and start learning how easy the exam can actually be. With the right strategy, of course. You are not bad at English. You have just been struggling or you have just been studying the wrong way. So let me show how simple IELTS speaking really is and how many mistakes you have been making without even knowing it. So the topic is actually fashion today. Speaking part 1 questions we are starting with. So, do you like shoes? Hmm. Yes, I do like shoes, especially because they allow me to express my personal style in subtle but meaningful ways. While I'm not obsessed with collecting them, I always make sure I have the right pair for different occasions. A well-chosen pair of shoes can elevate even the simplest outfit and actually make me feel more confident. I think they are not just practical, but also a fun part of fashion. So, as you see, so coherent, detailed, good, but not out of topic example I gave. So, second question. How often do you buy shoes? Actually, I don't buy shoes very frequently, maybe 2 or 3 times a year. Maybe, because I prefer to invest in quality over quantity. Whenever I purchase shoes, I make sure they are durable and versatile enough to match multiple outfits. However, if I find something unique on sale, I might make an impulsive purchase. I usually buy new shoes when the seasons change or when I need something specific, of course. So, third question. Do you prefer comfortable or good-looking shoes? Honestly, I prefer a balance between the two. But if I had to choose, I would go with comfort, of course. I believe that no matter how stylish a pair of shoes looks, if they hurt your feet, right? So you want to enjoy wearing them. That being said, there are many brands nowadays that manage to comfortable aesthetics with functionality. Ideally, I always try to find shoes that look elegant but also support my posture. Question number 4. Have you ever bought shoes online? Okay. Yes, I bought shoes online several times, especially when I couldn't find my size in local stores. Although there's always a risk they won't fit perfectly. I read reviews carefully and check the size guides to minimize mistakes. One time I had to return a pair because the color looked very different from the pictures. But overall, yeah, my experiences with online shoe shopping have been quite positive. So let's see speaking part 2. So this is the question. Describe a dress shirt you wore for a special occasion. So you should say what it is like, when and where you bought it, what special occasion you wore it for, and explain how it made you feel wearing it. So the answer will be like this. One of the most memorable pieces of clothing I have ever worn was a navy blue suit I bought for my cousin's wedding last year. It was a tailored slim fit suit with subtle pinstripes, and it looked both classical and modern, of course, at the same time. So I remember buying it from a boutique store in the city center after trying on at least 5 different styles that didn't feel quite right, of course. The moment I put it on, though, I felt like it was made for me. It just fit perfectly. Why not? The wedding took place in a beautiful garden, actually in a beautiful garden venue. And since I was one of the groomsmen, I needed something formal yet comfortable enough to move around in. This suit ticked all the boxes. I paired it with a crisp white shirt and navy tie with silver doors and brown leather shoes, which gave the whole look a polished finish. I had never dressed that formally before, and it gave me a whole new sense of confidence. People at wedding actually complimented me on the outfit. which made the experience even more enjoyable. I also liked that the material was breathable, so I didn't feel hot, even though it was a summer event. Wearing that suit made me uh, stand taller, walk more confidently, and feel completely in the moment. I kept thinking how much of a difference clothing can make in how we feel and behave. In fact, after that day, I started putting more thought into what I wear for special occasions. It wasn't just about looking good, but about how clothes can change your whole mood. That would definitely become one of my favorite pieces in the wardrobe, I can say. So as you see, this is speaking part to answer. As you see, I answered all these questions detailedly, and I created a story to make my answer more clear and precise. Sometimes I gave pauses to make it to sound it more natural. So let's come to the speaking part three now. Part three, question number one. What do you think the clothes we wear say about us? So, I believe the clothes we choose to wear communicate a great deal about our personality, lifestyle, and even our current mood. For instance, someone who often wears bright colors may come across as cheerful and outgoing, while someone dressed in minimalist tones might prefer simplicity and structure. Additionally, clothing can reflect our profession, our profession culture, or values, like how eco-conscious individuals might prefer sustainable brands. When people see us, they often form impressions within seconds. That's we call first impression. And our clothing is one of the first thing they notice. Even if someone claims not to care about fashion, their choice of outfit still says something perhaps about practically or indifference to trends. For young people especially, clothing can be a tool identity, for identity formation or belonging to certain groups. At the same time, fashion allows for personal creativity and may use it as a form of self-expression. Of course, these interpretations are not always accurate, and we shouldn't judge too quickly. Still, our appearance often influences how others treat us. So, in a way, clothing acts as a kind of visual language. So, question number two. Do you think that brand name is very important for clothes sales? Oh, so yes, brand names play a major role in clothing sales, especially when it comes to perceived quality and social status. People often associate well-known brands with better materials, better fit, or higher reliability, even if that's not always the case. Many consumers are willing to pay extra just for the label, not necessarily the garment itself. For teenagers and young adults, branded clothing can be a symbol of status or belonging, especially among peers. Influencers and celebrities wearing certain brands also drive demand through trends and social media exposure. Moreover, luxury brands use scarcity and exclusivity to make their products seem more desirable. However, there is a growing counter movement where people focus on ethical fashion rather than brand prestige. Some even prefer to shop from smaller local designers who offer originality over recognition. Uh, Ultimately, while branding does heavily influence clothing sales, more people are starting to prioritize quality and sustainability. Still, the power of a brand name shouldn't be underestimated in the fashion industry. So, question number three. Why do some people like to go clothes shopping with friends? Many people prefer to shop for clothes with friends because it makes the experience more enjoyable and reassuring. Shopping can be a social activity where friends give each other honest opinions and help with difficult choices. It's also common to feel more confident in a purchase when someone you trust gives positive feedback. Uh, Trying on clothes in front of others can reduce the stress of decision making. This is the first one that I can say. And secondly, especially when there are so many options, of course, friends will be so important. In addition, shopping together often turns into a bonding experience, laughing about silly outfits or discovering a great deal. Okay, some people may also feel self-conscious shopping alone, especially in high-end stores. So having a friend along offers emotional comfort. For teenagers, especially, shopping is also a way of reinforcing group identity and peer approval. Uh, at the same time, friends might encourage to try something new that you wouldn't have picked on your own, of course. It becomes not just about buying clothes, but about connections and shared taste. That is why shopping with others remains such a popular habit. So, question number 4. How have clothes how have clothes fashions changed in your country over the past few decades? In my opinion, fashion in my country has changed dramatically over the past few decades, moving from traditional conservative styles to more modern and diverse expressions. In the past, most people wore practical clothing, often influenced by culture or religious norms, and there was little variation in everyday wear. However, with globalization and the internet, people have started experimenting with Western styles, bold colors, and 10-year cuts. Young generations are especially influenced by fashion trends from Europe, South Korea, and even streetwear culture from the United States. Especially social media has played a massive role in accelerating these changes with influencers, shaping public taste, especially almost instantly. So, local designers have also emerged, blending modern aesthetics with cultural elements, which has given rise to a new kind of fashion identity. Moreover, there has been a rise in awareness about sustainability and ethical fashion choices. The more that I can say, especially among the urban youth, today it's common to see people mixing high-end brands with thrift store finds, which wasn't the case before. All in all, fashion in my country has become much more global, expensive, and individualistic compared to how it used to be. Question number 5. What kind of things determine what is in fashion? So it's a really difficult question to discuss, first of all. Several factors contribute to what becomes fashionable, with media and pop culture being among the most powerful influencers. When celebrities or influencers wear certain styles, those looks quickly gain popularity, especially among younger people. Designers also play a huge role, as their collections often set the tone for upcoming seasons during the major fashion weeks. Economic and political trends can also shape fashion, for example. During economic downturns, people tend to dress more conservatively. On the other hand, advances in technology, such as new fabrics or sustainable materials, eco materials, often lead to fresh trends. Social movements like gender neutrality or body positivity are also reshaping fashion to be more inclusive and diverse. Sometimes we can talk about exclusivity as well. Moreover, music, films, and even video games influence how people dress. K-pop, as you know, as they often promote specific looks or vibes. Fast fashion brands like Zara, H&M then take these high-end trends and make them available to the mass market. Climate and lifestyle also play a part. People in warmer countries won't follow the same trends as those in cooler or colder regions. So, in short, fashion is influenced by a complex mix of cultural and economic and technological and so on forces, as you know, right? So, last question. How do you think fashion will change in the future? This is the most difficult question I've ever seen, and answer, of course. I think fashion in the future will be increasingly driven by technology, sustainability, and personalization. With the growing awareness of climate change, more consumers are demanding eco-friendly and ethical clothing. So brands will need to innovate with biodegradable or recycled materials. We may also see a rise in virtual fashion, outfits designed for digital avatars or augmented reality, especially as the metaverse becomes more mainstream. So we can see technology driven clothing as well. Additional fashion is becoming more gender neutral and inclusive. So traditional lines between men's and women's clothing may continue to blur. So technology like 3D printing and AI could enable people to design or customize their clothes at home, which would make fashion more democratic, but we don't know the boundaries, of course. Subscription based fashion or clothing. Rental services might also grow, reducing waste and promoting variety without overconsumption. But this is the most difficult case to discuss, of course. Social media algorithms will likely predict and promote hyper personalized fashion trends, but they look same totally. At the same time, there might be a resurgence of local craftsmanship as a reaction against mass production. Overall, I believe that the fashion of the future will reflect both innovation and responsibility in addition to the other similarities.